What's going on? It's Alfie, founder of masterthemixing.com. In today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about how you can mix the low end, add a bit of volume back to the low end without it sounding muddy and muffled, and just kind of bringing the low end out and making it shine. So I've got two tricks for you today. First, let me just give you a feel for what we're going to be working with. It's just a very simple 4-bar loop. Just threw together a little shout 'em, you know what I mean? Alright, sweet. So the first thing I'm gonna do is EQ. Now, this is actually a stock Logic. This is actually a stock plugin from Logic Pro. So on any DAW that you're using to follow this tutorial, you should be able to do it with a stock plugin. Now, normally the main type of EQ that's used is a channel EQ with the graphic visuals. This is what you'll be used to, something like this. For this one, you actually want to use a Puig type EQ, which is actually this one, or a tube type EQ, which is actually an EQ with this layout, because we're gonna want to be using the attenuation and the low boost with the ability to target the certain frequencies. So that's what this specific plugin is actually really good for. And for a stock plugin, it's actually phenomenal, to be honest. So anyway, to get into it, what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm actually going to target a certain low frequency. I'm actually going to start with about 45, and then what this will do is that I can just boost the low end, right? And I'll boost it until it sounds a bit muffly, and then what I'll do is I'll start to attenuate, and what that will do is that will scoop away the mud right in front of the low end. So we essentially get to boost the low end quite nicely and keep it clean with the attenuation. So I'll just do that now to give you an example of how it actually works. Alright, so with. So you can see how that adds a nice thickness to the low end, really brings out that 808. And this is actually done on the master bus. This is actually done on the last channel track bus. So it's sort of like, it can be added even after you've done all of your mix. If you still feel like the bass could be just a bit more in your face without having to change the volume of anything you've done, then that's when this EQ comes in quite handy on the end of the channel there. So again, just to let you hear what that sounds like without and with. And you'll notice the attenuation, what that's actually done is it's kept it from being muddy, because the boost in the low end is clearly heard, it's clearly audible, but it doesn't sound muddy, it doesn't sound muffly. The 808 just sounds clearer in the mix. Alright, so that's the first little trick, is to use a tube EQ like the one used there. Again, this is a stock plugin from Logic Pro. The next one is to use MaxxBass. Now this one's actually from Waves, but it's an excellent plugin, an excellent paid plugin. What it basically does is it creates a synthetic version of your bass, and then boosts the frequencies of it, so that, you know, if you're expecting your production to be heard more on laptop speakers or in earpods or whatever, this will kind of carry the bass forward frequency wise, that it can be heard on those devices that aren't able to play the bass back as well as studio monitors or studio headphones. So how this one works is pretty simple, really. You just sort of adjust the original bass and the synthetic bass until you get a mix that you like, that you feel like works well. So I'm just gonna start with it off and then turn it on and then adjust. I've turned off the tube EQ as well, so it's just this plugin working now. So I feel like it's taken away too much of the original. I'm just gonna boost that. Right. So like I said, what that's done is that's created a nice synthetic bass that's a bit more forward in the frequencies, so it doesn't have as much rumble. So perhaps, you know, if you plan for this to be a a club track at some point, you might want to have the bass rumble in it. But if you just predict that more likely it's just going to be like a track that will be played in earphones and desktop speakers and stuff like that, then this will actually benefit because the bass will still shine through. I'm not too sure how you're listening to this right now, but if you're listening to your desktop speakers, then you should have been able to hear the bass more clearly. If you're listening to just normal earphones, you should hear the bass more clearly, and so on and so forth. So that's how that comes into handy. Again, I'll just play with and without. You can almost hear the distortion that is added onto the bass to make it brighter, because that's pretty much what it does. It just distorts the synthetic version to give it more brightness. But yeah, so those are the tips to mix your low end and to just kind of bring them out. You can mix both the channel, the tube EQ and the MaxxBass if you wish. I prefer to do separately. I'll either use one or the other. Most of the time I'll use the tube EQ to just boost that bass and keep it clean. If I feel like it could do with a bit of a boost, if I want a very booming kind of production. Hopefully this has been a helpful video. Please check out beat mixing secrets in the course. Below the video in the description. It's a great beat mixing video course. It's everything you could ever need to learn to really take your beats from A to Z. Really step up your game, really level up your beats. So go check that out if you've got some time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and in the comments let me know what other topics and what other videos and tutorials you'd like me to discuss and go through, and I'll get that done. So again, it's Alfie from masterthemixing.com. Take care.